Okay. Oh, I forgot. Does anybody have a spiritual thought?
Nope.
You know what? I do have a quick one.
Okay.
It doesn't really pertain to class, I don't think. But I just had the primary president over here because I'm new and we're trying to make new friends for our kids, and that's so fun. But anyway, we were talking about like our leadership positions at church and how, like for me, I mentioned I tend to discount my influence. Like, oh, it's just me. Like they don't, you know what I mean? They're not really going to listen too much to what I say. But we had a good conversation about how the adversary wants that. He wants you to think that you really don't have that much influence on not only your class and the people you have stewardship over, but just other people watching you. You know, maybe your babysitter or whoever, people that you don't realize. So we had a good conversation about that. So I would just say, don't discount your influence over those in your life. I say that in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Right.
All right. So we're supposed to review the summary data from the negotiation results. So which team were you guys on?
Sharon was on MuMate. I can't think of how to say that now.
The MuMate. Sorry, Lacey cut up a little bit, so I wasn't sure.
And then I was from DuPage.
Okay. I was also on, I was on Maxwell's side.
Okay.
MuMate.
Okay.
Yep.
So, okay. So what conclusion did you guys come to?
I think our conclusion was we did our valuation. Oops, hold on, go back. We invested in our company invested $1.5 million, and then the company was valued at $5 million.
Post money.
Post money valuation, and then I think we got 17% as the option pool with 3 board votes.
Yep.
Okay.
Is that what you wanted?
Yep.
Okay.
So we got the pre-value at $6 million. Post was at 5.
Wait, post was at what?
8.5 million.
Wow. Okay.
How much did you guys invest?
Well, I honestly was really confused on this, but they both were doing they determined the valuation by using like a 1.4 multiplier. And so I think they did that times the million or the 3 million they were supposed to have at the end of the year.
Did they put that in the case? I don't remember.
Wait, what? Yeah, you're gonna have to walk us through this because.
Okay, so
your company totally rocked it. Sharon's like, wait.
I know. I'm like, hold on.
I was so confused. They were talking about all this stuff, and I was like, that's not what I got at all. But so in the case, it talked about, and I don't even remember where, how you were supposed to divide the something by revenue.
Yeah, I remember.
And that's in your personal case, because I don't think we got that.
No, we didn't.
No, I'm pretty sure that was in the case.
Okay, we're gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, I'm opening up the case because I want to see what I did. It could have gotten us a higher value.
Okay, so because there's the whole paragraph about valuation, right? Like how they're preparing to negotiate, right?
Yes.
Okay, and the first part they're talking about how they can expect a 10 to 20% sales growth. And then they talk about what each part of their revenue goes to. So they think 10 to 12% is marketing expense. And then they say they think that they're looking like they're going to get 8 million in revenue for 2012. And then as they build it, they think they're going to get 50 million in 2015. But their goal is 100 million. Like eventually, if they make it to 100 million, then they know that they've hit solid beverage brand, right? Is 100 million. So hold on, and then they talk about if they go with an asset-based lender, not the bank, but just asset-based, that they want 80% of receivables. They want the credit that they'll give them is only 50% of their working capital, and it's backed by the inventory, which would be bad if they have like a bad year, because then that company will sell the inventory and they make all the money. The asset does not. I'm gonna have to like think how to say this again. Okay, and then that's it. So I'm not sure where you read that.
I vaguely remember something about dividing revenue by something, but I can't remember now that you mention that, because I ended up using the multipliers from last week's case. Yeah. Obviously, it was not the right thing. I mean, but you can take different approaches. It just would have been good to compare what it would have been with their suggestion. I thought I saw something like that.
In the DuPage, they talk about they wanted to invest between 3 to 10 million with their company with the equity stake of 20 to 30%, which is why Aaron and I only did the 15% originally, was because we weren't going to give that amount. We weren't going to give that much amount to you guys.
Right.
All right. Well, what we did, yeah, it's on page 5. In that first paragraph, it says, and I did this differently. I used the competitors multiplier and did it, so I got a way different number than they did. But we went with his number because it seemed a little more fair.
Divided by revenues.
Okay,
I see it.
So you're saying 1.5 divided by 8?
No, divided revenues by earnings. So they'd have to take like the 8 million or whatever in 2012.
Wait, hold on. It says to apply acquisition transition multiples, which is the 1.5, right? For comparable beverage companies, proceeds divided by revenue. So what are you using as your proceeds?
You know, I don't know what they used. I used the stuff
what did you use?
I used the stuff on Exhibit 7. And so I just picked like 3 companies that I thought were probably their biggest competition. And it had the acquisition value. And then I divided that by the LTM sales. So I got like 2 point something, where they had 1.4. So we went with theirs. And I'm not sure how they got it.
I see what you're saying. I would think you would take the 1.5 and divide it by their revenues, right? Because weren't you saying that that's what you were thinking? Because that would make more sense.
Well, so it says proceeds, and so the proceeds of what? Proceeds of the sale? The proceeds of what we're paying into? Yeah, this is the part where I'm like, I get mixed up here, and sometimes when I email Brother Mitchell, he's like, I don't know. Okay, well, at least you're honest. Okay. Because our negotiations with Sharon's team and my team is, I think we valued you guys essentially at $3.5 million. And then we upped it to 5 for your post valuation. So like that was the beginning, right, Lacey? That was the beginning valuation for your team?
The beginning valuation was 6 for us.
Yeah, they were high. You guys were higher. Well, because if you think about, you had the same confidential member. We could talk about this now, I assume. Yeah. But we had 2 other offers on the table. One valued us post money at 7.5, and the other valued us post money at 4.5, which is why we wanted somewhere at least higher than our lowest.
Right.
Second offer, right?
Yeah.
And so to start out the gate with 6, I mean, I guess it makes sense because, they knew it had to be somewhere in that ballpark, you know?
Wow. Okay, so.
Sorry, I can't explain it much more than that.
That's all right. So, Lacey, what you're saying is you went to Exhibit 7 and you took the acquisition value, so what they were purchased for.
Yes.
So Importations D Roma was bought by Smart Balance, and so you took the 66 divided by, what does LTM stand for? Last term.
Last 12 months.
Last 12 months, and then it says the value to like the 1.2. Oh, see, those are the multipliers right there, right? So with the medium, the 1.4.
Oh, I didn't see that there. Probably, yes.
Isn't that hilarious when you're like, that would have been? Okay, so then if you took the one, because Sharon, you took the EBIT, right?
Yep.
And then the multiplier from last week?
Yeah, I multiplied it by 10.5. Mm-hmm.
See, and this one's saying your multiplier should have been 1.4, right? Is that what we get?
Ooh, if that's the case. Wow.
Or is it the other, the value to the last 12 months EBIT?
I would, gosh, if you took it, the EBIT multiplied 27.5 by, what was their, let's see.
Which one? You had to pick the right one because some of them
I was wrong.
good.
By the 104 for 2012. Like that's what I had intended to do it last week, and I was off. I did 2013, or I mean, whenever it was we met. But yeah, if you multiply that 104 EBIT
by 27,
you get 2.8 million, 2.9.
And that would be your beginning valuation. That's not even after.
That's
Pre-valuation, okay. Yeah, see, it's hard to know which number we were like supposed, and I think we all had different like equations, and so it was like, we'll just pick we'll just throw a dart in the middle, and that one sounds good.
Well, and I think, again, that's the whole point of this, is to see, what did you do? What did we do? And what was the best way to go about it? And
yeah,
these cases, they make you think.
Yes.
They make you want to stab your eyes out.
That too. I mean, that too.
So yeah, I think we started with the 2.8 pre-value money. That was, I think it was 3 million is what we started as our pre-money value.
Yeah, yep. I think so too. And then that's when we were like, wait, it needs to be a little higher than that.
Yeah, because I think because Aaron and I were only like emailing back and forth like 8 minutes before that started. So we weren't as prepared as I think we could have been, but anyhow.
All right. I think a lot of that was kind of the big stuff. Well, I don't know. I guess you could have taken 5 minutes. You could have taken a couple days to figure that out, but
yeah,
you never know. You may have come to the same conclusion.
Probably. All right.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
Yes.
So we didn't get the results, did we?
I think he's just talking about, like, again, what we did. Like, are you looking at number 5 or 4?
Well, I was looking at number 3 still, the choose the team that showed extremes in performance and ask what happened that led to the results. We kind of did that already.
Yeah.
Okay. So choose a student from the DPV side and ask what were your goals for the negotiation.
Our original goal for the valuation of X, the amount invested was we only wanted to do 1.5, and that's because our goal was to do first round and second round, so Series A and Series B. But the amount we only wanted to invest 3 million in the company because it's still pretty small, and unfortunately, it is in the beverage department, and that's not our favorite. Like it's like a scarier market, right? We wanted the the post-money valuation to be 3 million, but I think pretty quickly when we were talking about this, once I realized that's what we were talking about, Sharon, I was like, oh no, yeah, we can up that. That should be more.
Yeah.
And so we went with so that was an easy transition for us. On the board seat, we only wanted 3 voting board members, and we wanted one of them to be our team, one to be their team, and then one to be a third non-party, somebody else. Just like a random. Okay, random's not the right word, but like.
Independent.
Thank you. I can't think of
That's I'm like, wait, what is it? Yeah.
There's a word, independent. And so we do have 5 people on the board, but only 3 of them can vote. And we wanted to keep it at odd numbers. So is this deal important to DPV? I don't think it's important to DPV. I think it's important to Cantor and to the other guy whose name I can't think of right now. Mm-hmm. I don't think I could say it actually also.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Rodriguez. Oh, I can say that. Sorry. Yes. So I think it's important to them, but is it like a once in a lifetime? No. It's pretty good though. Absolutely. And they certainly didn't want to pass. Like they wanted to make this deal, but I don't think it was like, if we don't do this, we will ruin our lives forever. I just think it was like a really good opportunity. So anyhow, and does it fit our investment focus? I think it did. I think it sort of fit in, like we kind of like to branch out. Have a couple here, a couple there. So I think it fit into that. So yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So Sharon, do you want to answer those next few? Talk about the deal terms. What?
Sure. Actually, for any additional deal terms beyond pre-money board composition options, all that. We didn't really have any additional deal terms. Kind of our main goal was to get some type of be in between at least the two other offers that we had. Because
Karen, the two other offers, were they for less money?
I think they were both, do you remember, Lacey, did they both give the 2.5? Let me look.
Let me look. I don't remember off the top of my head.
So then why would you choose DPV?
Well, because, so I went through the case and did that analysis, and that was part of my hypothesis anyway, that they should go with DVP. And let me look at my reasoning, because that's a really good question. Because I thought, should I really, why not walk away?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not like the other two ones were better.
Yeah, well, no. Well, actually, there were things they could live with, but things they didn't love about each. So with DPV, they mentioned in the case that was a venture capital firm that was specifically focused on startups in high-end markets, which is what MuMate was.
Right.
They had, well, that's not really the reason. I was going to say they had MuMate. MuMate had other offers on the table and could use that as leverage. I mean, I guess that is kind of a reason if they really wanted DPV. They get along with the partners at DPV. They had mentioned some issues, I think, on both sides with the other people. DVP has extensive contacts and prior operating experience, so they'd be good to partner with, be able to help them grow. And then DVP can offer capital quickly as well as valuable advice. So, as I went through the case, I thought, yeah, this is probably, if we're going to go venture capitalist, this is probably the right one to go with, given their expertise and all the other stuff. And so that's why for me anyway. Lacey, did you have anything different there?
I had pretty much the same things. The only thing when I negotiated, I made sure that we were getting, better than the typical, which was Prosper funds.
Yep.
We weren't always better than Astoria, but I
Yeah.
felt like we had that relationship with Rodriguez and what was the other guy's name?
Cantor.
Cantor. I think that relationship was there, so I thought that was a better company to go with, just because we had that relationship.
Right.
So that was one reason that I didn't want to walk away in that case, and I wanted to get the funds faster through a venture capital.
Exactly.
Okay.
That was, we were on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we already talked about pre-money value. For our board composition, we also had we also put 5 on the board. We left Maxwell as CEO and I can't remember the other ones. Taylor, was it Taylor? Well, and then they had 2, and then we had 1 independent.
So so DPV didn't have anybody on the board?
No, they had 2.
So you had 5 people on your board?
So 5 voting, right?
5 voting.
Oh,
Yep.
Okay.
So that was that. Okay. So option pool, I didn't understand what that meant. Did you guys?
Okay. From what I understood after I Googled it was, because I didn't know, but evidently you have to decide on a certain amount of shares. In the very beginning when you start a company, whatever it is, evidently it's 10 million is the one they use. It's in multiples of 10, I guess. So 10 million is a really common one. And they generally will they set aside 10% for future compensation, I guess, for other employees that come on. And so, oh shoot, Rebecca just dropped. I'm sure she'll get right back on. But anyway, they have to have a reserved amount so they then don't have to go through all the trouble and paperwork of increasing the amount of shares they have. They don't want to give everything away that they've already decided upon. So they have a certain amount that goes in reserve, and they call that an option pool. So I assume when they say 15 to 17% in the option pool, that is how much they think maybe needs to go there, or how much of it they think they deserve. I wasn't sure what they wanted there. You know what I mean?
And I thought that's what they were going to go to hire other people. That's how I interpreted it.
Then yeah, okay.
But I wasn't sure. Like I said, I was kind of confused.
Yeah,
So we agreed on 14%. What did you guys get on that one?
we were at 17.
17.
Because again, I think that was kind of within the range of Prosper and Astoria as well.
Well, and from the from like DPVs, so the larger you make the option pool, the less ownership Taylor and Maxwell have, because it comes from their shares.
Mm.
Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah,
So,
that
like,
makes sense.
Yes.
because they both own 45% and they can't take any from Dank because
Right.
Dank is he's a subordinate of theirs.
Yep.
So his shares are fixed. So that's why it was a negotiation part, because Taylor and Maxwell would have to give up their own shares as well as
Not an option.
right.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. Thank you. That helps.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you think different priorities affected this type of negotiation?
I kind of thought their priorities were fairly similar in that well, let me think about that. Trick question.
It kind of is.
I personally thought that Maxwell and Taylor's main priority was to have both of them on the board, whereas DuPage, was more with the valuation and how much they were going to have. That's the impression I got through our negotiation, but I could be wrong.
So DuPage one of their motivations was to not lose money.
Yeah.
And because it's a beverage company, like ours talked a lot about how, like kind of went into how beverage companies are really volatile. And since Cantor just started working at DuPage, he really wanted to make sure whatever investments he made were good investments, right? He didn't want to lose money on the first 6 to 10 investments that he arranged. And so like, that was why our team decided to do the 1.5 Series A. And then if there's a Series B, we can say 1.5 again. Because we were told we could only invest $3 million. Like you only had that much money to invest. So
I think originally, did they want 2.5?
yeah, that's what they decided they needed in order to meet the growth needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we never even talked about that in ours. So,
Yeah.
but again, like you could get the 1.5 and then the 1.5 4 months later. Like that was the answer to that question, I guess. But
Well, see, on our site regarding that, we were already okay with that if we wanted to split it up.
yeah, and and then the way he wanted to do, the reason they wanted to do that from DuPage is because they could put the 1.5 in, see how it's going, and then put the additional 1.5 in. And instead of them getting all of it at once, it was, I don't know, it's like, do you hand your kid $20 and they spend it all in 5 minutes, or do you hand them $5? And, I don't know.
See what they do with that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of what it was. It was like, let's see if you guys are serious about this. So anyhow.
Perfect. Okay. So who do you think has the upper hand in this negotiation?
I went back and forth on this one. Because, I mean, on one hand, MuMate has a great opportunity for a venture capitalist or whoever to invest in, and they have other term sheets.
Yeah.
So I thought, yeah, they have the upper hand, but then DuPage has the money. So I don't know. What did you think, Rebecca?
Well, I'm thinking like MuMate has a product, so but DuPage also has a product.
Yeah.
So I guess technically, if you look at like the money is what matters, then DuPage wins. But
yeah. Ultimately,
but
they have the funding. Yeah.
yeah, but at the same time, if they don't have,
Oh, she usually comes right back.
yeah, we'll give her a minute.
Yeah.
Do you care if I talk for a minute?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I thought that MuMate, I am saying that way wrong.
No, it's
But I
good.
thought
think
they
that's right,
had the
actually.
upper hand. Is it? Okay.
I think
woohoo.
so. I think so. Yeah.
I think I've said it right, different every time I've talked about it, but I thought they had the upper hand because they did have those other offers on the table. So the money really didn't matter so much to them.
Because they knew
Like-
they had other options, not just one. Like they had 3
Yeah.
options. Yeah.
So I felt like they had the upper hand. Sorry, Rebecca, you got cut off.
It's like your microphone.
There we go. Okay. No. I think that eventually it's the drink company that wins because DuPage, if they didn't go with DuPage, they could go with someone else.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what Lacey just said. I think that's probably right. I just kind of kept going back and forth, like, but where they had options, had DuPage been the only player that was interested, then yeah, DVP probably would have had the upper hand. But yeah, these guys had options.
Okay. Let's see. So this is to Sharon and I. How did Astoria and Prosper term sheets affect your negotiation strategy? What are the pros and cons of Astoria and Prosper and seeking capital for Angels?
Okay, so there's the obvious that we had leverage, right? And we were not supposed to share that we had leverage, but I think, or the particulars, right, of each contract. But I found that it was important, I put this in my weekly reflection too, that it's important, I think, to kind of let the other side know, or allude to at least that, we're not the only ones that think this. We really want to go with you, but we have to make the best decision. You don't need to say, well, Astoria will give me this much. What can you do? I think you do need to be able to subtly share some of that information. And so as far as how that affected our negotiation, it helped us get our post money higher.
Yeah, it did.
And then, so, I think it's good to share a little. But anyway, I think for as far as that, and then I had another thought and it left me. What was I going to say? I can't remember. What did the rest of that question say? What are the pros and cons of Story of Prosper? Oh, it was going to be venture capitalists versus angels. So ultimately, you can get your money so much faster from a VC, and these guys need to get going. And also, did they know any angels, or did they have any contacts with angels? For me, that would be even harder. If you don't know who to go to first personally, or you don't have any contact, we didn't have that information in the case. So, maybe they did, I don't know. But from what we had, I would think a VC would have been the better route anyway, just because, you can get in, you have people that can give you good advice, you have relationships, and you have your money fast. That was my thought there.
Yep, I agreed with those. I thought the speed, I didn't think about not knowing people, like maybe they didn't have a background or an idea of who to go to. I didn't think of that. But as for the negotiation strategy, I think we broke that rule a little bit because we kind of hit a stalemate where nobody was willing to bend. And so finally, the guy that was on my team was like, hey, just so you know, we do have other offers. And so maybe we should reconsider this. And so we probably broke that rule a little bit, but we did tell them we had other offers. We did not tell them what they were offering, though.
See, I don't think you broke a rule then, because I don't think you're supposed to share the detail. I don't think it was wrong, though, because I think they need to know you have some leverage. Like, I just sold a house, and I had 2 offers. Well, the second offer sucked. I'm sorry. It was bad. And so it's like, but the first offer didn't know that. They just knew I had a second offer, right? And so that helped us get more of what we wanted from that house. You know what I mean? I think it's important to kind of know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So what one was that? 6. Number 7. How did the VC go about valuing MuMate? Well, I said it wrong that time, but
I think we talked about that, right?
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
Yeah, the valuation kind of covered all that, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Did we talk about all those bullet points? I think we did.
Well, it says what exit value were they expecting? So like DuPage, Okay, so this is in my top secret. So it said that MuMate had projected revenue of 50 million, right? They hope to get 50 million in 2015, right? Exiting at the 50 million, that would mean its acquisition value would be 70 million if you use the multiplier, the 1.4 multiplier, right? So if DPV ended up owning the 25% of the company, which is what I think we ended up, I'll have to look, but anyhow, what we ended up doing when we invested, then that would mean that of the 70 million, if we were to sell our blah, 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 our equity stake, hold on. I gotta do that math again because I don't have it on my sheet. What's a quarter of 70 million?
I don't know.
I know, right? Like I should know that math off. The 7 divided by 4 is 2 point something. Anyhow, so it'd be like 20 something, right? And since we only put 1.5 in at this point, or even if we would end up making the 5 to 10 times what we wanted. Does that make sense? So yes, it worked out. It was good.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
The answer is yes, it looked good. Anyhow.
Perfect. Let's see. What have you learned about bargaining tactics?
Oh, sorry. I think I already gave my thoughts on that too.
So did I. And I think it was necessary to I don't know.
Well, I think I even asked the question, right? Didn't I ask okay, let's back this train up. Do you guys have other offers, right? And I think you were like, yes, we have other offers in there.
Maybe you did ask that. I can't remember. Yeah, maybe you did.
I just was like, look, clearly we're not getting anywhere here. So, and I'm like, Sharon's face says, we could just back out, Rebecca.
Hey, I was trying to be nice about it. I looked at Lacey's group. I know who she was negotiating with, and I kind of wondered how that went because you had a player on there that was pretty tough in our last negotiations.
She had Justin?
No, she wasn't with Jeff. She was with Mariah.
Oh, Mariah. Yeah, her and I were the same team though, so I didn't.
She hardly said anything.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
That surprises me.
I was shocked. I was like, the other guy did all the talking, so I was like, okay. But he was tough. He was tough.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because she was. I mean, she was pretty. I'm just gonna stay with these, and that's it. So
yeah, she was not moving. No. True story.
Yeah, she hardly said anything during the negotiation part. So
wow, that's funny.
How funny.
So I don't think hardball tactics work all the time, but I still think that there are lines where you're like, I'm not going to cross that line. So if this is something we have to negotiate, then we're done. I feel like there should be honesty though in the boundaries of the negotiation.
Totally agree.
I agree with that. All right. So what were the key takeaways?
Terms
about, sorry, yeah.
No, just reading
terms allocated, economic and control rights.
Yep,
that was a takeaway.
Yes. Well, I think it's just important to know that in a deal like this, again, I think even with our cases the last negotiation or whatever, both sides want to benefit, and yes, our priorities might be different, but we both want to come out of this with enough equity and growing the business and making money, expanding the footprint, whatever. So for me, it's, again, this was another takeaway I had, but it's how can we come together so that everyone feels like they've been treated fairly? I'm just all about win-win. So what can we do to make sure? Because if both sides feel like they've been treated fairly and they win, they're motivated to make it work. They're not going to have these personal conflicts with each other, and hopefully, or they're less likely to anyway. And I don't know, that was probably my major takeaway, aside from the fact that you do need to kind of allude to, other offers or the leverage that you might have.
Right.
I agree. So, and my major takeaway was that, like Sharon said, you have to have a win-win situation. And in this case, they both had to give a little bit, and there was a price they had to pay, but both people gave a little bit. So I think it's important to be able to bend a little in your negotiations as well. But as Rebecca said earlier, you do have to know what your limits are and say, okay, after that, I'm saying absolutely not.
Right. Totally agree.
Yep.
Cool.
Awesome.
Any other final thoughts?
I'm grateful I don't do this for a living.
Me too.
I'm a horrible negotiator.
The negotiation parts are fun, but like the valuation, I think I stared at that document for like an hour and was like, I still don't know how to do that.
I know. Well, that's the thing. It's like preparing, because I think it's fun too. And I think that I think it's neat to respect each other enough to differ in your opinions and not be mad afterwards. And you know what I mean? Like, it's just cool to be able to have that kind of discussion. But yeah, I agree. Like, there's prep that comes before it. You need to make sure and know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And honestly, this time I don't know that I did. I
Well, I
thought
don't
I
think any
did.
of us did. I don't think any of us really did.
Well, that's kind of it. Part of me's like, is everyone else feeling a little like unsure about the stuff that's coming out of their face? Because I feel like everything I'm saying is BS. So let's go with that.
I
Right?
think all of us were like, I don't know, but I'm going to stand my ground. You know?
Yes.
Yeah,
I believe both of your BS, just so you know.
Yeah, good. Awesome.
It always sounds good to me.
Excellent. Wonderful.
All right. I'm going to